Come, let me get you some.
All right, all right. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Welcome to Saber Talk Sunday. Mundo in the house. And we got a special guest, Mark Prader of the 51st Legion, Saber
501st
Combat Specialist. How you doing, man?
Very good. How you guys doing?
Oh, dude, we're doing awesome, man. And I'm glad you showed up tonight. Of course, my 50th birthday and all, but this is going to be a special show simply because it's an honor to have you on here, dude.
Well, I appreciate that, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you, thank you. Now, what got you? Forgive me, guys. I'm in the car, so I'm not home just yet. What got you into the Saber Compact besides you've got a martial arts background, correct?
33 years worth, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting, man.
So, back in 2007, I, like so many other people, received as a gift Force Effects lightsaber, a Darth Vader one. And I thought it would be kind of cool to kind of develop some sort of. Are you familiar with martial arts at all? Because martial arts has what's called forms, or in karate. Have you ever heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yeah, because I've been off and on in martial arts for several years. Also, I did a year of karate. I did 2 years of taekwondo, and I did about a year and a half of kung fu.
Okay, good. So you got an idea. So at the time, I thought it would be kind of cool to create some lightsaber forms of combat that are based around the Canon 7 in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I back then there really wasn't a lot online at all regarding lightsaber combat. Nowadays you can't go anywhere without seeing lightsaber combat on YouTube. But back in 2007, 2008, there was very little to none. There were a couple of groups out there that were pretty prominent. There was the Jedi, there was the New York Jedi, and there was the LA Jedi. And they were the only major groups there, and they were doing some forums. So I kind of watched what they did, and I kind of put gaps in that they didn't, or that they hadn't done yet, and just kind of went from there.
Right. Wow. That's a awesome progression, man. Scott Carpenter, welcome. Darth Reese, Charlie, Big Bobby Z, welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much for showing up tonight, man. Charlie, hope you got a good workout, bro. Yeah, dude. And what is your go-to style in terms of forms? Like when y'all fight, is it the Sorensu? Is it form? What 4? Bring me about what your favorite forms are in the Saber combat.
I like Form 5 Dimso just because it's a very straightforward style of combat. When I started coming up with a lot of the different lightsaber combat techniques, I drew from my experience in Filipino martial arts, Stima Arnis Kali, as well as I've experienced, not too much, but a little bit of experience in an art called Shinkendo, which is a Japanese sword art. One of my good friends is a grandmaster in Shinkendo, so he taught me quite a bit over the years. Those are the main styles that I drew upon. And then, of course, there was Japanese kabuto weaponry. So the things we learned with a bow or a kama, all of those things can translate really easily into lightsaber combat. It was important for me to kind of create a realism behind it, as opposed to just swinging a saber around and saying that I'm good at a certain style. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Man, that's cool though. I mean, when do you know when about the first time somebody actually really decided, hey, let's do some saber combat, like other than just for show and stuff, but like real, I guess you would say, uh championship type stuff?
trying to figure out which year all of those combat groups started. I think that was 2015 or so, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm not even sure how that evolved. It just kind of happened out of the blue. There were a lot of groups out there that were doing a lot of stage combat, which again, I was involved in a partnership with somebody who's no longer involved in Sabers. It was called the NCSCS Combat, Saber Combat, and we did a lot of Saber combat, and also involved the stage combat aspect of it, the choreography part behind it. So a lot of those groups were already out there, and then it just sort of evolved into, hey, let's start doing sparring tournaments, which I think is pretty cool. The rules are interesting. I don't know much about them, but I just know that the rules are they're very specific, which I know they have to be for tournaments. But I don't know too much about it. I never delved into that aspect of it. I kind of wish I had the opportunity to, but life kind of took over, and have my business to run, have a family, so traveling around the country to spar with lightsabers isn't in the cards right now.
But and each to their own too, because I mean, it seems like saber combat's gotten more popular these days than it has been in the past. I mean,
Yes.
there's been some, the amount of interest in it compared to the past years. You didn't hear so much about it as you do now.
Right.
And the competition factor goes way beyond now than it did back then. Otherwise, maybe what I'm thinking, and I guess what I'm saying is that back then it wasn't um, as um, as out there. The information on the Saber comment wasn't as prominent as it is now. The word of mouth, then YouTube, and then eventually, you get videos and so forth. So the sport has become double than what it used to be.
Yes, it sure has. Absolutely.
Darth
You're muted.
Reese,
You're muted.
what up? Reese in the house. How's it going, dude? Hey, we can't hear you, man. I can see you moving, but not hearing you. So Reese over here, he is apprentice to Space Windu, man.
Oh
And
yeah.
he's been learning to make blades. And,
Yep.
he's made some wonderful blades, man. Wonderful.
Yes.
Have you seen some of the videos that Space Window has pulled out lately? Reese has been responsible for a lot of those blades.
Yeah, Space Windu and I go way back to the days of the FX Sabers forums. So yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, and Space Window, man, he's gotten busy with all kinds of things too. So I tell you, he's even made I mean, comic books and everything else on top of that. So on
That's
top
really
of his
cool.
regular job. So Space is very busy.
Good for him. Very good.
So what size of blade do you fight with? What length?
Well, I am not very tall. I'm 5'5", so generally between 28 and 30 inches.
So you're my height actually. I am
Yeah.
5'5".
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
20. See, and
Yeah.
my preference of blade is about a 28.
Okay, sounds about right. Yep, yep. You get past 32, and it gets to be a challenge to move that blade around. So, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
length for sure.
So as it is right now, I'm making another 28-inch blade. I bought two stocks of one of 7/8 inch blade and one of 1 inch blade, and I'll be working on those hopefully pretty soon and stuff like that.
Nice.
Darth Reese, what are you working on right
Yes.
now? Are you working on a TriStar? Are you working on a Dual Star? What you working on right now?
Actually, I just finished our last order on our order list. So we're not really working on a blade right now. We're working on hilts.
Nice.
Yep.
Break time, huh?
Yeah. We got a bunch of hilts that we need to work on, so that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
There you go. The work on those hilts, man. Oh, and oh man, some of those hilts that y'all been working and what I've been seeing is like, what? Are y'all gonna primarily do the MHS?
Yeah, primarily MHS. We'll probably do some one-off custom hilts. Um, whatever's the easiest. Oh, actually, whatever we want to do, that's what we will do. We do have a brand new hilt
Yeah.
that we have a video coming out for very soon. We just finished that last night, and it has a Golden Harvest V3
Sweet.
inside, V4 inside of it. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, a V4. Y'all got some V4s now?
Yeah, we got two of them.
Sweet.
We only made one hilt though.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I can't wait to see those things come out. I know they're gonna be just as impressive.
They are really impressive so far. I love that. I love that soundboard and everything about it.
Yeah, I may pick one up pretty soon. I may pick up a V4 pretty soon.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm looking at your
Glow sticks,
website right
Scott.
now.
Now, Mark, when did you join the 501st?
I just celebrated 8 years this month.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been quite the ride with the 501st. That's for sure. I'm part of the Golden Gate Garrison, so we've had some. I've been able to do some really cool things that I couldn't have normally done on my own. Of course, being with the 501st, visiting Lucasfilm numerous times, visiting Skywalker Ranch,
Uh-huh.
attending some really awesome events, huge sporting events, professional sporting events, being part of that. It's been pretty amazing. But the most important thing is being able to do what we do best, and that's help raise money for charities and make little kids smile, and adults too, of course.
Dude, that is sweet.
Yeah, some of the
You see
cool
who
things I got to induct my good friends Diana Lee and Asanto
Oh yeah.
into the Legion, which was really cool. And I got to induct her husband, who was one of my teachers, Ron Balicki, into the Legion also, because he played a part in Star Wars. So that was one of the best things I've ever got to do with the 501st. These people have been my friends for many years, and my teachers and my mentors in martial arts. So to have that Star Wars and martial arts connection with them, and overall was pretty awesome.
That sounds awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was great. It was really cool, and they enjoy lightsabers also.
I mean, who doesn't enjoy lightsabers right now if you're a big fan, right?
Right.
What's your
right.
favorite hilt? What's your favorite hilt?
I've been in this hobby for so many years. It's really hard to say what my favorite hilt is. Back in the FX Sabers days, I was really a huge user of Luke ROTJ lightsaber, specifically the V2. That was what I was known for. I still love my V2. I love the Luke Hero. The control box never bothered me during saber combat. I know how to use the saber correctly, so I don't have to cut my hands up. That and I would say I don't know. I guess for comfort, maybe the Vader's Vault Revan hilt that I have, or that's another solid hilt I enjoy. And I know Darth Reese, you do MHS customs. I have a couple of workhorse old school MHS customs that I use that are always my standby sabers for combat, and those can take a really good beating too.
Wait, Mark, you said that you used to use the Luke Hero ROTJ, like Force
Yes.
FX hilt, like the old Force FX hilt?
Well, that started there, yeah, and then it evolved into the other thin neck hilts nowadays. One of my good friends is old school sabersmith LDM of LDM Custom Sabers. And
Yeah.
So LDM Mark was Mark. LDM was the first person to him and Ace Rocket were the first people to come out with a true thin neck hero from back in the day. And
Hold on, I just wanted to show you.
So I was there for all that, and I was the one that tested the durability of their thin necks, and they wouldn't break. So I still love all of those old school sabers.
So, Mark, one of the first lightsabers I ever got
Mm-hmm.
was actually the old Master Replicas Force FX sabers, and
Yeah, the old Luke. Yeah.
yeah, this one here, I gutted it out because, well, the old electronics really weren't working anymore, and I thought one day maybe I'll send it in to get upgraded. But yeah, this is the second hilt that I ever got as a Star Wars fan. I think I was like, 2006, so 12, 11 years old, I think, when I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was our old school Luke. We used to gut those back in the day, and for those of us who were able to at the time procure a crystal focus, we would put a crystal focus in there. I mean, I go back to the days of crystal focus version 4, where it was near impossible to get a crystal focus. I don't know how far back you guys go, but back when Irv Plecker used to build them by hand, he would release a certain number of run, and then you'd go on his website and you'd have to hit the F5 button and refresh every few seconds. They were all bought out. They'd sell out within 30 seconds. We have so many wonderful soundboards nowadays. I was there in the days of the soundboard drought where we used to gut the lightsabers and use the old soundboards in there. We even found ways to wire up the old toy lightsaber electronics for a certain time. And make them able to power the LEDs. That's how far back I go. We're pretty lucky right now.
Yeah. You might appreciate this, Mark. This is a 2003 Master Replica DNA, and I had it sent in and upgraded to Profi, and including a few other modifications, including wires for Wonga and a cover tech wheel, because let's be honest, the D-ring isn't as big as they are in other products.
Well, what's nice about that particular hilt is that it's pretty close to the actual size of an MVP. So, yeah, you can't go wrong with those Master Replicas and Hasbro Vaders, in my opinion. They're good hilt.
Yeah, and even though they're pretty chunky, they still do pretty well. They still feel really good in your hands.
I agree.
Yeah, they do.
On those,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I've got an 03 Master Replicas that I'm working on, and I haven't. Let me see if I got it right here. Oh my God, I made it home, guys. By the way.
Oh, good.
So, but yeah, man, I've got an 03 Master Replicas right here. That right now.
Hey, Mundo, not to harp on your video, but looks like there's some reverb happening.
Yeah, I know. I hear it because I don't have my my earbuds in right now, so I don't have the regular thing since I was on the road, and then if I cut the show off right now, it might cut it off completely. Otherwise, I can try to come back in and see. Since I'm home now, I can put my earbuds and see if that works. But we'll see, because I think even if I put them in right now, it may not switch over to the way it's supposed to be. Because normally before I start the show, I have it already set for the earbuds. I mean, I can try it, but it probably still would be the same. You know what I mean? It should be a little bit more quieter now, though, that since I'm back in the garage instead of on the road. Is it still having the reverb right now, though?
Yeah, it is.
It really is?
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot. See, and I don't want to, if I stop it and y'all, I don't know if it would stop the show if I stopped it to get my earbuds in, but let's see. I mean, I'll put one in and see if it does it. And let's see if they do come on. Hold on. I know you could still hear the reverb right now because I haven't cut them on just yet, but let's see here. Okay, is that any better or not?
Let me check.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, it connected, but I don't think. Let me see. Yeah, see, I would have to go and get out and then come back in, and I don't know if that will cut off the show because I actually haven't done that with my phone just yet, where I would have to come out and get back in and then start the show over again. You know what I
Well,
mean?
how about we ask chat? Let's see what they think. Hey, chat. You want Mundo to test it out so you have a better feed for the show?
What do you think, guys? I mean, I can do it pretty quickly. I could try to get out and then get back in and see if it works.
Whatever.
Do you got time, Mark?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, let me try that then. Let me see if I can do that. Reese, if I can, why don't you hold down the fort until I get back in?
Will do.
Okay. And so let me go ahead and let me do that. And let's see here.
Hey,
Alright.
looks like we're still live.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Mark, I actually wanted to I told Mundo this earlier, but today I actually had my first practice with the Saber Legion. They recently opened a chapter here in my hometown of Chattanooga, and I got the opportunity to spar with a few of their members today.
And how'd that go?
Well, all 3 times I sparred, I got my ass kicked. But failure is the best teacher, and I haven't done sparring sword sparring in a while. I used to do
All
kinjutsu.
right, guys, how are we? How are we starting?
Big frosty Cinnabons.
We're
That's
good.
way better.
Yep, no reverb.
Yeah.
No reverb, much better. All right.
So I was just telling Mark my of the practice session I did with the Saber Legion today. They opened up a new chapter here in my hometown of Chattanooga, and
Cool.
I sparred with some of their members, including the Saber Legion World Champion Bobby Zavala. And suffice to say,
wow.
I got my ass handed to me by the 3 members I sparred with, but I learned and I took feedback, and I hope to implement that later on. The closest I actually came was facing off the head of the Knoxville Saber, head of the Knoxville practice. Oh, hey, Bobby. Yep, I see you. And I was able, and the score was 10-9 Knox, which is what they call him. So the fact this was my first time, it was good. And I also sparred with the head of the of the Chattanooga chapter, Matthew Gordon, who was also in the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to say, for anyone out there who is looking for something to do, a way to stay active but also enjoy Star Wars, the Saber Legion is one of those groups that are just amazing, fun thing to do.
I'm glad to hear that.
And back to what you were saying, Mark, with how lightsaber combat is becoming more relevant in today's, modern medium. I definitely think that the advent of the internet has definitely helped bring forth lightsaber combat to a more broader world. And it does help that the French Fencing Federation has recognized lightsaber combat as an actual sport. Now, whether or not that will actually make the Olympics, time will tell. But I would love to be to see that happen on the world stage.
Well, when you put real life combative arts such as fencing into saber combat, you're adding an element of realism that makes it a bit more viable. And it's not just a bunch of people swinging around lightsabers trying to pretend they're Mace Windu and Palpatine.
Yeah,
you're actually doing things that are realistic. And I'm a lifelong martial artist, and my whole focus is to is to bring people into martial arts, and if using lightsabers does that, great. That's even better, because martial arts is my entire life, and I to this day at my school, we have a demonstration team, and every single year at our local holiday lights on parade, our demonstration team uses their lightsaber combat as we go through the parade, and our entire town just looks forward to it and loves it every year. So
Who wouldn't love that, man?
it's really fun. Yeah, we do the stage combat aspect, and we do the all the flourishings that come with it, and it's just and like I said, whenever we get done with the parade, people say, "Oh, that was great to see you guys. We love you every year." So it brings that awareness, but at the same time, it's all of my martial arts students that are doing it. So
yeah, and
You know,
I mean,
that's
there are a lot of lightsaber groups out there. Saber Legion being one. Like you mentioned, New York Jedi and LA Jedi were one of the first. And one of the ones that I have seen when it comes to practicing, the closest thing we could get to the lightsaber forms in Star Wars was, I think, Ludo Sport. But the problem with them, what I hear, is that they have like a certain set of rules, especially when it comes to the lightsabers that they use.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the case of, with other things, you could definitely like learn from just how to, copy off the different forms that are done and just do the best you can.
Yeah. And then, back in the day, I was on YouTube and I was trying to find anything about lightsaber combat. And I had mentioned that there were the groups, specifically New York Jedi at the time and Pennsylvania Jedi. Pennsylvania Jedi was doing a lot of choreography with what they call the alphabet system. And every letter had a specific type of strike or two strikes. So when you'd choreograph, you'd say, okay, I'm going to do A, F, G, H, A, H, which is fine. Kind of hard to memorize all that. That could be a challenge. And then the New York Jedi did a lot. There was a guy named Ebon Wing. His real name was Mike. He had a form. He created the Soresu form, which is more like a kata. And that I really took to that form a lot because I could tell it was martial arts based. And like I said, I filled the blanks in on the other forms that weren't really done out there. But what I appreciated was the forms that were done, they did have a real martial arts base. Form 1, Shicho, the New York Jedi had a guy, his name was General Sun. Was a kung fu guy, so he did a really cool broadsword form that he adapted into that form. So I just kind of took the ball and I ran with it with the rest of the forms.
Well, I mean,
are you familiar with Matthew Corrado?
He was my former friend and partner in the Nova Star Kane Saber combat system. So we were NCSCS.
I was just wondering.
He's no longer involved in lightsabers.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with lightsabers, bringing them into martial arts. I mean, it all stems back to George Lucas's, fascination with the Akira Kurosawa samurai films that were made. And, at first, when the original trilogy was being made, the first lightsaber duel between Alec Guinness and David Prowse, Obi-Wan and Vader, was simple Shakespeare swordplay. But with Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, it sort of upped the ante a little when they brought on Bob Anderson to do the stunt work for Vader.
Yeah, there was some Aido involved in that too, which also added an element of realism. And then when, of course, Nick Gallard's incredible choreography during the prequels, that just took it to a whole new level.
Yes, especially, I would say, some people don't like the Phantom Menace for a variety of reasons. We can understand that. But I think one thing that we can all agree on is that the fight between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul, is probably one of the most iconic lightsaber duels. Like when you think greatest lightsaber duel, you either get Empire, you either get Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, or you get Darth Maul.
And Ray Park. is a real martial artist. So
Yeah.
that had a lot
He
to do with
is.
it.
Yeah.
I
And
think when you have real martial arts mixed in with the choreography, it does something special to that effect because it really brings out the soul of the fight, that they come into. And of course, it takes a lot of practice too with the choreography.
oh yes.
So, with the extensive martial arts background, you tend to know where you need to pull back and where to speed up and when to slow down, everything of that aspect within the choreography,
Oh yeah,
because
I thought that Diana and Asanto's fight with Ahsoka with the Talzin blade was just brilliant, and I said, hey, she knows how to work
yeah,
that blade because that's what she's been doing since she was a little girl, and it
right.
showed in every single
And
way.
and
Yeah,
I grew up watching her dad, Dan Inosato, with Bruce Lee and all that stuff, right?
yeah. Well,
Uh,
she told a fun story. She said that her and her dad went to go watch Star Wars, and then right afterwards, he said, "Hey, let's go to the Toys R Us and buy some toy lightsabers and train with them." So she was training with lightsabers back in the 70s when they were, when they were, yeah, and they were doing FMA with the lightsabers even back then. That was some of
Oh
her
my
fun
God.
stories when she was very young. So that's really
Um,
cool. Yeah.
Mark,
what do you think, Reese? You gonna get into it?
I mean, I need to learn all this stuff. I'm still a novice at lightsaber dueling and wielding.
yeah.
Oh, you and me both, man.
I
Mark,
mean,
Even
this summer at there's a Metrotham Con in Dalton, Georgia.
Mhm.
Hop skip over the border from Chattanooga. Diana is actually, Sando is actually going to be there
Oh, good.
in June. So I definitely plan on seeing her. I definitely plan on telling her about this conversation if I can remember it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it would be an honor to meet her. And
She is good people. She's a wonderful person. I've known her for many years, and she's just as big a fan as we are. She geeks out just like we do. She's so humble about her experience in Star Wars. She tells me it's surreal. It was a surreal experience, and she just is grateful for all she's been able to do. So that's really cool.
yeah.
are you familiar with Adrian Paul, the Highlander?
A little bit, yes.
I think, and I know it's probably a little late for him to get into it, but I think he would have done well in a Star Wars movie.
Oh yeah, he
I
would
would
have.
say, I would say maybe a Sith Lord or maybe like a Gray Jedi type thing.
That would have
I
been
think he
cool.
would have been great at that. I think he would have been great at it. And who's to say, because I don't know if you're familiar with the sword experience. And I talk about it every now and then because I've been fortunate enough to go to two experiences. And he does a wonderful job because what he does is he takes parts of movies, right? And he finds a piece of these movies. And he'll come up with some choreography. And during the experience, you do a small workout, then you learn the choreography of that particular scene, and what he'll do is he'll get everybody in pairs, and you practice the choreography for a little bit, and then later on he'll film you doing that specific choreography,
Oh,
and
wow.
then and so he'll put it on YouTube. There's quite a few videos on the different places that they've been to, and my friend Priscilla, she's done over 60 sword experience events with Adrian Paul,
Nice.
and retreats and everything. And I tell you, uh, the type of experience that you get with it is phenomenal, and you are able to get pictures and signatures from Adrian Paul. By the way, he is one of the greatest celebrities you'll ever meet because he is so cool to be around with, man. I tell you, every time that I've gone, in the two times that I've gone, it is a great experience. And they'll explain to you, hey, safety first. This is what we're going to do. This is what you have to do so that nobody gets hurt. I mean, it's a full blown great experience. So if you ever get a chance to go, I highly recommend going. And I wanted to show you guys Um, I was fortunate enough to get a couple of Bokens and stuff, but I want to show you one of the Bokens that I picked up for Anthony, and I haven't been able to send it because I haven't had any money to send it. But here is a Boken that I got that's actually signed by Adrian Paul himself.
Oh wow,
Very good.
very
He would
nice.
You
love
know,
that.
so there's the signature right
Nice.
here, and
Yeah.
yeah, and so I picked this up. This is one of Anthony's birthday and Christmas gifts, man. And like I said, when I get a chance, I'll send it out to him.
Oh, that's
But
got a nice wrap on it too, doesn't it? On the hilt.
yeah, it's got a pretty
Oh,
decent wrap to it. I had to fix it up a little bit because it came unraveled a little bit. I think during the time that it was sent to me, I think somebody kind of messed with it. So
yeah, that's a good. That's a
um,
good display hilt for sure.
as long as they didn't keep it, as long as they didn't keep it.
Yeah.
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 He
Absolutely.
he would love that hilt.
Going
So
back, going back to the choreography when it comes to lightsaber combat in movies. I wanted to get your perspective on something, Mark.
Sure.
So I know that there are a decent amount of a lot of Star Wars fans who have a negative opinion regarding the Acolyte. But I wanted to get your perspective on how the saber combat was, especially when it came to how Daphne Keene performed, Lee Jung Jae, and Manny Jacinto. Because I don't know if you know, but Manny Jacinto couldn't see a dang thing out of that helmet. So he was training for months on end with that choreography. Everything, knowing that what we know now, that entire fight scene is like any fight scene he did with the helmet on was basically perfect.
Yeah.
well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I think it was muscle memory choreography, basically.
Yeah. I was reading about that because I don't know. I'm one of those people that just love all things Star Wars, and I really enjoyed the Acolyte. And I enjoyed how they really upped the game on the lightsaber combat. And Manny had talked about how he had put some FMA into his fight scenes, and it showed. It clearly showed when he did the dual wielding with the smaller Shoto. And you haven't seen the. You've seen dual wielding, but you haven't seen the Shoto blade and the longer blade, which in FMA we call that Spadidaga, which is sword and dagger. So to actually have that translated to Star Wars was really nice to see. I thought he did an outstanding job. I think that everyone did an outstanding job. Personally, they upped the game so much with the saber combat from where it came from the sequel movies, because it kind of lost its traction.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of the lightsaber combat with the sequels, one of the scenes that when you watch it over and over again, specifically the throne rooms battle between the Praetorian guards and Rey and Kylo, it looked like it was. There were some moments where it was so staged. Look, and no shade on, on Daisy Ridley or Adam Driver or the stunt performance for the Praetorian Guards. They did great in their own. I leave it down to the stunt coordinators and whoever was planning that, because if you're going against the guard of the Emperor, it's got to be close, and it just looked like it was. I don't know, and also in Rise of Skywalker, like even though it was just against minions with blasters, it felt so. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to put it out.
There wasn't any saber combat in any of those three sequel movies that were even remotely what they should have been, I think.
And like I say, no shade on Daisy Ridley or Adam Driver. They
did the job.
They did the role perfectly. They trained hard for it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and all heart and love goes to them.
Oh no, they did what they were supposed to do at their job, But you look at Ewan and Hayden and how much they trained for their Anakin and Obi-Wan battle. It was
Especially in the Kenobi series.
it
Yeah,
was hugely intense. It's because they had Nick Gillard, and they just trained for such a long time, and they trained with martial spirit, in my opinion, and it shows.
Yeah.
even in the Kenobi
Right.
series,
Oh, yeah.
even in the Kenobi series, even though it wasn't Nick Gillard, it was still they still did incredible job.
They did. Yes, 100%. That was a fun duel to watch.
Yes.
No worries, Reese. I know you had to go, dude. Thanks a lot for showing up, man. Hope you have a good night. Study hard, dude.
Yeah, man.
Bye, Reese.
And I think we're gonna get some better choreography down the road too, because now that and I don't know if you guys know that George Lucas is possible coming back. It's rumored, but it's
yeah.
possible.
I think that would be great because look, I think when it comes to writing stories for Star Wars, you need to have multiple perspectives in the room. I think even though the prequel trilogies were great, there were definitely some mistakes made, and I feel like when you have a writer's room bouncing ideas off the wall and finding different perspectives to create one amazing story, you are able to create something that's unbelievable, that surpasses even what fans would anticipate. And I think having not only Dave Filoni and other directors like Bryce Dallas Howard or Jon Favreau in the room, but having the OG himself and having those ideas be bounced around and all together, I think that would be a tremendous asset. And honestly,
absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, but I would love to see Star Wars go harder when it comes to more like I want to see Star Wars become like more rated R. Like, for example, the Death Troopers and Blood Harvest novels by Joe Schreiber. Those were, even though those are now legends, those are one of the those are amazing books. And I would honestly, we got to see the OG Death Troopers at the last episode of Ahsoka, but something like that, like with that would be incredible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Zombie lightsaber fight.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be too funny though. Have a Star Wars characters as zombies. Oh my!
And there's a blooper of them doing Thriller.
Oh shit! I can picture it right now. Oh my god, Darth Vader, doing the. Oh shit! That'd be hilarious, man. But it probably wouldn't be watched as much as it should, unless you were like high or so. Unless you were like high or something.
It would be memed.
Or drunk. I definitely would watch it if I was like totally wasted off my ass. I definitely would, and I'd be laughing my ass off too, man.
I'd watch it 5 times, put it in my funny videos YouTube folder, bring it to a bunch of other people, just like what, and then put it on a big projector in the middle of the street.
I'd be one of those that I'd have about 3 or 4 people in the living room with me and rewinding it and fast forward it and rewinding it and fast forward it. So, you get the whole gist of it and the totality of the funniest parts of it, right?
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite parts, and I literally did this when I was wasted one time, is Spaceballs, where Rick Moranis, they stop mid ludicrous speed and he goes flying across the hall and lands into the computer. Yeah, I was laughing so hard. I probably rewound that thing like 50 times, busting a gut every single time, man. I could not stop laughing. And I couldn't stop watching it and rewinding it, man, for hours. hours, man. And it's like, and that's one of the reasons why I also bought the that font from Fours, man, because like he has that right there. Like, are we stumped? Yeah. All right. Smoke if you got them. Take five.
Oh, speaking of lightsaber fonts, when I was doing at the practice for Saber Legion, one of the guys who I faced off of, the head of the Knoxville chapter, he has his lightsaber that he used. He had the Smash Bros font from Kyberphonics playing. So basically while he was fighting, he was just like, burr, 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 just like, and I'm just like, and I asked, wait, so they let any sound font be played? And it's like, yeah, as long as it doesn't shine a light, as long as the light doesn't shine through the saber, it's legal. And I'm like, huh.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have the neon cat, if a neon cat like just like, oh my god, if that's a way to psych out your opponent, like, and get some few hits in, like, that's like, wow.
Now, Mark, do you practice with your saber before you go to the combat stuff, or do you have like do you practice without it sometimes?
Depends what I have on hand. Yeah. Yeah. Because I can pick up pretty much any saber and use it. So sometimes I'll use a boken to practice. Sometimes I'll grab a saber, just whatever's at hand.
Mm-hmm.
The balance doesn't really change that much for me. I used to laugh because people used to analyze the balance with the blades and all that. You know, that really doesn't make a difference. Doesn't. I mean, it has a little bit of, of leeway, but in the end, it's about how skilled the practitioner is. A practitioner should be able to make any blade in their hand function. Either they know,
Yeah, you should. Yeah,
because you can't count on a blade being the same weight as another blade, and you should be able to use it the same way regardless. You may have to adapt.
Right.
Especially with the hilt. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
just out of random example, these are my two latest sabers that I acquired. This is an X-Tech Star Killer.
Star Killer,
this
yeah.
is an empty adamant by Saberforge, basically a clan hilt. And even though it's empty, like, it still feels like pretty light. Meanwhile, this thing, like, I'm pretty sure this is like over like a pound and a half. Like, this thing is hefty.
Well, you got to think about this too. When you're actually sparring, do you do any flourishes and spins? Probably not.
No.
Probably not. If you do
See,
one,
that was going to
spin,
be my next question.
Yeah, the closest thing I
you
think.
do one spin. I was going to say, if you do a spin, it should lead into an attack. It shouldn't just spin out there to look pretty, because when you're fighting, it's not about looking pretty. It's about scoring the points that you need. You got a lightsaber in your hand. It's going to look cool anyway. But turning your back too much, doing all the fancy things you see in the movies, I would never spar that way, ever. I would spar very straightforward. And if I spar someone, I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, the closest thing I've done to a flourish in an actual, like, saber combat, especially during the practice today, was the saber salute that Dooku does in episode 2. That's That's the only thing I really did, and maybe a spin to just get the wrist rotation moving. Yeah.
But if you spin it all, it should be a transitional thing into an attack. That's how we do it in FMA.
How much spinning do you actually see in these competitions?
I haven't really seen much of it, so I really can't say.
Okay. Yeah, I suspect that there really isn't much. I don't believe. As awesome does it look on film, the practicality of an actual combat fight with the saber would not be even close to. oh, I'm going to spin and this is going to work like this. You
Nope,
know,
nope. It's just like a real street fight versus a fight that you see Jackie Chan do. You know, you street fight has to be straightforward and do what you need to do to survive. And last thing I would do in a street fight would be a spinning hook kick or a tornado kick.
hmm
No, never, never. It's the same thing with lightsabers. You need to keep it straightforward because in these competitions, the goal is to win. And I mean, and that would be my focus too. My goal would be to win. I'd be very straightforward, but the attacks would be also very direct. Um,
hmm
and
In a
I've done
comp-
a
yeah.
and I've done
In
a fair share of FMA competitions. So with stick and double stick. So I have a very good idea of what works and what doesn't work.
When you mean double stick, do
hmm
you mean dual wield or staff?
Oh, dual
the
wield,
collie sticks.
dual wield,
Okay.
two color sticks. Yeah, yeah. If if I mean staff, I will say staff. Dual wield's always going to be here. Yeah,
Okay.
once they bring each hand.
More or less like collie sticks, right?
Yeah, Jarkai style.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny how prominent some of those actual moves actually do work
Mm-hmm.
in the combat situation, you know.
Absolutely.
And if you follow choreography is very lighthearted compared to actual combat because during the combat situation, I mean, you're not thinking of your form, you're not thinking of anything else but certain practical moves that are actually used to hit with, and not, I mean, because you know, even in kung fu, you know, you have certain moves that are pretty useless in certain situations, where you have other moves that are just basically breathing techniques instead of anything else. Then you have your actual combat moves that are meant to maim and hurt and win. You know, so you know some of the, like I said, choreography in the martial arts movies, as opposed to real martial arts combat. I mean, even Bruce Lee even said, you know, that's why he never used one system here or ever. He used what was efficient in the fight when he fought somebody else. He didn't use straight Wing Chun. He didn't use straight boxing. He didn't use straight kickboxing. He utilized each tool from each system that was more effective in a fight than anything else.
You know how that came about, right? Did
Then
you know how he discovered that and evolved into what became known as Jeet Kune Do?
well, that was right after he had that fight that
With Wong Jack Man,
gentleman that he
yes.
had a fight with, right? That messed up his back, right?
Oh, that didn't mess his back up. No, that was that didn't mess his back up at all. That was something that you saw in the Dragon, the Bruce Lee
No, no,
story.
no, no, but he hurt his back while he was training, I think.
Oh, that was different. No,
Um,
he hurt his back in a thing accident. But the actual fight with Wong Jack Man, he realized that there were too many fixed positions in Wing Chun, and he ended up
yeah.
chasing Wong Jack Man across the room because Wong Jack Man practiced a different style of kung fu than Bruce did. So
hmm
Bruce's Wing Chun Bruce won the fight, but it took way too long, and
hmm
that's when he started to develop. What became evolved into Jeet Kune Do because he did a lot of research on what worked and what didn't work, and he just threw the rest away. And that's the thing about Jeet Kune Do. I teach Jeet Kune Do, so
hmm
we
I have
teach.
his book.
Oh yeah, okay. The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, yeah. One of the
hmm
main goals of what JKD is to use what's effective and discard the rest. Now, what's effective for me is not effective for somebody else. Everybody has their own style of Jeet Kune Do, and if you say that you should only do it a certain way, then you're not doing Jeet Kune Do. It's not like a strict style like Taekwondo or Japanese karate. It's meant to be very open ended. I mean, yes, you learn
Right.
base techniques. You have to learn base techniques, but that you can take them and use them how you wish after you've learned them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely it does.
Yeah.
And I think those techniques that should be utilized that actually, have legitimate preference to your target. Because, like I said, anything else that's not practical, I mean, you're getting your ass kicked one way or another. Um, so, somebody, who does use a martial arts, but really has no real value of a fight in terms of, what really works and what really doesn't. They've clung to the forms as much, and they stay true to the forms as much. But then you got this street fighter that's like, okay, I'm gonna beat your ass because I already know what you're all about. You already know this. You're gonna stick with it, and you're not gonna change it up on me. So
And
you're
that's
done
unfortunate.
for.
That's unfortunate because forms in kata, if you do not understand them and how they translate to a real street fight, then you're just doing a bunch of dance moves, in my opinion. And I'm a world champion in forms, so I can say that.
No, I'll take your word for it, man. I'll take your
Yeah.
word for it.
Yeah, back when I taught lots of Taekwondo, and I would show the students what the moves translated to, you know,
Hmm.
because if you don't know, then there's not gonna be any value in what you're doing. You say, oh well, this is a cool move. Well, what is it? Well, I don't know. My teacher just taught it to me. Well, that there's no knowledge there. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's a real big problem because if you don't understand some of the moves, I mean, why even get into a fight if you don't
Mhm.
understand what you're doing?
Yeah, yeah,
If you don't know what it's for, and leave it alone. stick
yeah,
stick to stick to your backyard regiment.
pretty much. Well, I gotta get off of
But
here very soon, gentlemen. So, can I answer any other questions for you?
No, it was a pleasure talking with you, Mark Prader, and I do hope that I get to meet you in real life or sometime.
I
Seriously, of
appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
course.
absolutely, man. I mean, it's such a pleasure having you on. Like I said, the honor is all mine, bro. You know, the honor
Well,
is all mine for you coming
you're
on, and
you're both very
I sure
kind.
hope you. I
You're
sure
both.
hope you will have some time to come on again with us. And you are more than welcome to come on anytime you want to, man.
Well, I appreciate
I've
that.
always had, I have the philosophy, it's always an invitation, never a have to, dude.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
oh, my pleasure, man. Like I said, you want to come on, hit me up and say, hey, Mundo, we're going on tonight. I'll tell you, hell yeah, I'll send you the link, dude. I'll
Sounds
send you the
good.
link, man.
Sounds good.
All right,
Maybe I
you
can
have a
come on.
great night.
Maybe I could come on and talk about the old days of Sabers a little bit and just give you guys a rundown of how it was back in the day compared to how it is now. Like, there's not too
Oh,
many of us around
absolutely.
from back then. There's a few. Space Windu was one of them, by the way. But
Oh,
back in the
yeah.
days of Mad Cow and LDM and JQ Sabers and all those old school guys. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm hoping one of these days maybe I can get Mad Cow on, Shamim on. I mean, I have a list of people in my head
Well, when
that
you
I
get
want to get on.
if you get Rob on, that's Mad Cow. Let me know and I'll jump on too. Rob's a good friend. He back before I knew him, I his video. Go on YouTube and you have to do some searching because it's a very old video. He did a Luke V2 that he machined
Hmm.
from a master replica Saber, and it was
Hmm.
like one of the first ever created. This is 2009, the first thin neck V2 that was ever done. He did an old school Obi-Wan from MHS parts that he machined to a thin neck Obi-Wan. This was 2009. I mean, they both had Crystal Focus version 3s in them, but it's a pretty cool Saber history there. So if you get Rob on, let me know and
Hmm.
I'll jump on too because he became a very good friend over the years. He's a great guy to talk to also.
Yeah, like I said, I'm hoping to get him on one of these days. I mean, I see he's so busy and everything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm almost intimidated to ask him, but at the same time, I would love to,
Yeah, he's cool.
to get him
He's
on.
cool. If
But
he can do it, he
before you take off, I want to show you. This is the um, chassis that I'm working on for the Vader right here.
Oh
nice,
wow,
So,
very
nice,
impressive. Very nice
excellent.
crystal reveal too. Yeah. Wow.
so the way I kind of figured it, and everything is MHS parts. And the way I'm feeling is instead of it being 3D, part of it is 3D printed, but I wanted to make it look more machine
Yeah,
in
More
terms
metal,
of the way
more.
Vader is, right?
right.
So
So
it's
you're
a
going
work in
full
progress.
Rocksteady on this, huh?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
only
Wow.
way to go. Only way to go, man.
All right, gentlemen. It was great to talk to you both, and I look forward to coming on again soon.
Awesome, Mark. Thank you so much for coming on, man. You have a great night,
You too. Take
and
care.
may the force be with you and your family, bro.
May the force be with you as well. Always.
Thank you. All right.
So yeah. So guys, that was so much fun tonight. And I certainly want to apologize to you guys for coming on with not such a good feed, early on in the show. But I ran a little bit behind. My wife and my mom took me out to go eat for my birthday. I ended up getting some really cool stuff for my birthday. As you can see, I've got a Star Wars Hawaiian
Oh,
shirt on.
oh, nice. That is awesome.
uh, so the wife got that. She also got me some Star Wars Crocs. You know, Star Wars Crocs. My brother-in-law got me the um, the Star Wars encyclopedia of all the vehicles and
Oh, the
ships
most
and
recent one,
stuff.
huh? Very nice.
Yeah, the most recent one. So I got that, and then my daughter, she went to a vintage store and got me some pictures of both C-3PO and R2-D2, and along with another Star Wars shirt and some other stuff. And so, man, it's been such a great birthday. And I've been having, thank you, Chet, man. Um, you know, and I'm glad to have you here, dude. I'm so glad you guys always show up for me. I mean, it's always such a great blessing to have you guys come in every Sunday with me because I tell you, it means the world to me. And I see a lot of creators. They get a lot more traffic than I do, but they're in it for the money. I'm in it for you guys. I'm in it for the fun. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what it's all about for me. If I ever make any money off this, that's just gonna be a bonus for me, dude. Rich, thank you, my friend, my brother. Thank you so much, man. And so I think you know in doing these videos, it's something I really love to do because eventually I'd love to get face to face with people and do this, So
Yeah.
thanks, man. And then thank you. I appreciate that, dude. I intend to wear it some more, right? And it's funny because I got a Star Wars shirt underneath it too.
Dude, what you should do
But
is like do an imitation of Gabriel Iglesias with like just because of the Hawaiian shirts and whatnot.
right, the Star Wars version of Gabriel Iglesias.
Hey,
That'd be funny, man.
hey, Fluffy can do it. You can do it.
Right? But I mean, so Saber Combat to me, like he was saying, like Mark was saying that and I didn't ask him, but we'll ask him on another show, right? I wanted to ask him like when you're going at it with the blades and stuff. I wonder how often blades actually turn off after going at it.
Well, here's the thing: is that I would say if it were a NeoPixel, depending on like the durability and how much you're going to whack the blade, obviously, I would say maybe it would shut off after like a few 100,000 times or something. But I would say
You
with
think?
base it wouldn't be such a big deal if it was in practice. During a tournament, I would say be sure to not have your sorry, I dropped something. not have your not have your settings all good. So the gesture control, keep that off so that way it doesn't
I
like.
would say so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got
I
a
would say so.
which I should next time I do my practice. Before that, I should pre-program my Saber to not do that.
hmm and I think more or less in Saber Combat, if the practicality of the baselet would probably be more practical than your your NeoPixel because I mean midway through the tournament your blade could go out completely.
Yeah,
Depending
that's
on
why
how hard you're going to.
for many, especially in the Saber Legion, they use baselit Xeno Xenotech. But from what I know, from what I was told, Bobby Zavala, the reigning TSL champ, he used a NeoPixel blade, and
Oh, did
that
he?
yeah,
Wow.
he did. He when he won his title belt, most used flashlights. Well, that is basically what RGB baselit is. That is true.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, we all saw. We all saw Poe Dameron do the thing next to Ray, like in Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, um,
hmm
but I think that well, for what I did with my with my Balin Skull Hilt before one of the fins came off was I had a RGB puck made by Stock Custom Works, and I just
hmm
in bloop. And but the reason why it wasn't working wasn't because of the RGB puck, but was because the blade diffuser inside the practice blade that I was given was all like tangled up.
hmm
So one thing I got to do is when I get when I end up ordering a custom um, combat blade is make sure that there's not a good yeah.
hmm
Okay,
Here's
yeah,
a
that's
Intel LED deal that I've got right now that I got from TCSS.
yeah.
I'm trying to
But
work on right,
yeah,
and I think that one I'm gonna put in to something that I might put that in a PVC pipe type
yeah.
build.
But I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. And Rebel Saber is actually the one of the sponsors for the Saber Legion. They who actually created the scrapper hilts that you see on their websites, for the like katana like dueling hilts.
hmm
They're going to be at Con Nuga, which is going to be on the weekend of February 21st. So that will definitely be a good time for me to put in an order and talk with them about specifics with that.
Right.
Yeah,
That's cool, man. And that is really cool. Um, and that's something that we haven't really seen too much of. Like I was saying earlier, the saber combat is now becoming more prominent than it has in the past.
yeah,
And
and plus
and
an added bonus is especially when you do an added bonus was when we the practice today was at a park and there were people that came over to see, and there was also a HEMA uh basically European sword style LARP, um not LARP, but they had actual like metal practice swords over there. So
mhm.
they were over there. So basically, there were people that saw us and they were like, "Oh, what is that?" So that's gauging interest.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Darth Alice?
Darth Alice. Yeah, I have seen his name go around. Yes.
Man, he has some crazy looking hilts, and
Yes, he
he
does.
had made he had made a Spanish style sword saber that would look out of this world, man. And then I think he had made another kind of um, other colonial type saber that was from English type swords and stuff like that. I think he
Mm.
made a rapier style too. He right now he's in the middle of I think doing a coda as well.
Oh, based
A
off
very
of Ram Koda
slim.
from Force Unleashed. Yeah.
And then he also does like the katana styles that I absolutely love his work. And I've had the pleasure of having him on here a couple of times, and I'm hoping to get him on again uh real soon because he sends me like little sneak peeks of his work, and oh my God, before they come out, it's
Oh,
like what? And so I'm very fortunate to get some of those to call him a friend, and very fortunate to give some of those sneak peeks and before he puts the video out there. And his work is just absolutely phenomenal. So if anybody has not seen any of his works or any of his videos, I highly recommend going and check out Darth Alice videos because I tell you, some of his work is just gorgeous, gorgeous work, and all of that good stuff. Man, so I'm gonna go ahead and call the show right now. Guys, thank you so much for coming on and staying with us and checking out Mark Prader of the 501st Legion combat specialist. Man, I tell you, and we'll have him on again for a second round. I certainly had a lot of fun, being able to do this tonight with you guys. Um, Darth Barris, as always, thank you for coming and co-piloting with me. Uh, we were gonna have James on, but James had some other plans that he couldn't get away from, and I know he's probably watching and listening. So, Mark, thank you again, and then James, I know he's listening, and I hope he had a great drive and picking somebody up and getting home safely, all that good stuff. And again, guys, as always, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, especially on my birthday. And if you want to like and subscribe, go for it. And make sure you like and subscribe to Civilized Sabers, and keep an eye out for Reese because Reese is coming up and coming strong with those blades, for Space Windu because man, I tell you, he wants to make me a few blades, and I can't wait to get those in my hand because he has learned a lot from Anthony, and he's going to go very far with that. And I tell you, make sure you like and subscribe for Reese as well. Keep an eye out for his videos. He does very good videos. He's gotten so much better from the day he started to what he's doing now, and I've always enjoyed watching his videos with Space. Um, Also, like I said, if you want to get a hold of me, E_Cabrera CABRERAIII at yahoo.com. You can always email me or find me at Mundo Cabrera the Third on Instagram and Facebook. And and Reese, there's no hurry, man. There's no hurry, dude. I know they will be fantastic when I get them, dude. And I'm just telling you, there's no hurry, dude. And but when I get him, I'm gonna be sure and put him on the show for sure, dude. And so again, like I said, hit me up, get on my Facebook or Instagram. You want to talk to me? If you guys end up want to be on the show, let me know. Say, hey, Mundo, I want to be on the show with you. Go for it. Let me know, and I'll send you a link and come on to the show. Again, this is for everybody who wants to come in and we can have a good time. I mean, there's anybody and everybody come on in, talk Star Wars, talk sabers. That's what saber talk is all about. Having fun and sabers. Okay, guys? So with that, let me see. I'm gonna have to get in
Uh,
here.
you have a good
Oh
night.
my god. Oh man, you too. Have a great week. I'm going to drink it up here pretty quick because I'm off tomorrow and I'm going to enjoy the rest of the evening.
Dude, go easy because the hangover can, I'm sure, probably,
Oh yeah, no, this is just my first one, so
Okay.
I'll probably do about three. All right, man. Have a good one, dude.
Have a good
Mundo
night.
out. Peace,
Right.
guys.